Jason, I know you've been exploring really foundational ideas for how corporate forms might evolve in the blockchain era. And there's a lot in that sentence and what that means, but you've been really exploring these ideas. Maybe talk to us for a moment about your journey in getting there and what some of those high-level thoughts have been.
Yeah, so the basic question we've been asking ourselves is not just, what sort of new products are we going to see in an economy in consequence of blockchain and cryptocurrencies, but what is this going to do? What is this technology going to do to the structure of the economy? And economists have long been thinking about this from the perspective of what we call sort of transactions costs, or this question of the economics of governance. Do all economic activity takes place in firms or markets or in governments? And the determination of where it takes place is a function of the costs of organization, the costs of information, the costs of using markets, and as we think as well, the costs of trust. And since the Industrial Revolution, what we've seen is that most industries and most economies are made up of some things get made in firms because firms have scale economies and they can exploit sort of the advantages of management and organization and hierarchy to do things very efficiently. And then other things are coordinated in markets because markets are very, very good at using distributed information and coordinating with price mechanisms. And then governments do other things when you've got market failure, when you've got sort of externalities like pollution or other sort of things that markets or firms aren't very good at coping with. And our sort of high-level view on this is that for the first sort of 250 years of modern capitalism, we've had firms, markets, and governments as the sort of coordinating devices. Now we've got blockchains, and what this means is that some of the activity that used to take place in firms, markets, and governments will move to blockchains. And the question is how much, on what margins, and why? And our sort of our view of this is that this pushes more activity into markets. Large corporate hierarchical firms will start to shrink and disaggregate into smaller forms. And some of the activities that governments used to do will also shift to blockchain. So we'll end up with effectively a more market-oriented, smaller firmed, more agile, and more globally distributed economic structure. And that's an enormous transformation.